Sharks are a resilient species that have been dominating the oceans for millions and millions of years. It's through evolution and adaptation that has allowed these great predators to remain at the top of the food chain. Galliphobia is the human fear of sharks. This might come from popular culture, from movies such as Jaws or Shark Week or Discovery Channel. But National Geographic actually did a study last year that showed you have a 1 in 218 chance of dying from a fall, a 1 in 63 chance of dying from the flu, but only a 1 in 3.7 million chance of dying from a shark attack. Last year, another study was conducted showing that there were 64 unprovoked shark attacks throughout the entire world. Now, out of the 64 unprovoked shark attacks, there were only 4 fatalities. So sharks provide a beneficial relationship to the ecosystems that they live in, and they also provide many benefits to humans, some reasons you may not think of. From the time I was a child, I've always loved every aspect of science. I found oceanography one of the more interesting and mysterious areas of science. 70% of our Earth is covered with water, and there is a lot of ocean and lakes and different bodies of water that have been unexplored. Sharks are one of the more mysterious creatures living throughout the water that have a lot of unknown facts about their behaviors or understanding why they do what they do or how their behavior affects other aspects of ecosystems. Sharks can also provide a lot of benefits to humans. They can be used for research purposes, for human consumption, or just recreation. So, culling is the segregation of sharks from a shark population from the area that they're living in. You might ask yourself, why did humans do this? Humans removed that population so they can enjoy their own space for leisure. Again, popular culture may suggest that the sharks are dangerous creatures, so by culling, it creates a safe environment for the surfers. So finning is another reason why the shark populations are depleting. The term finning is almost exactly what you see here. This is a marketplace in Asia, and shark fin soup is one of the more common dishes that involves the valuable portion of the shark. So historically, if you were a noble or someone of prestige, you had the ability and the means to eat this shark fin soup. So you were seen as almost a very prominent figure in society. The problem is now shark fin soup is becoming a little bit more mainstream, so the supply really can't keep up with the demand for it. So that is another reason that shark population is depleting so quickly. Bycatch is another reason sharks are depleting a little bit faster than the human population would like them to. What bycatch is the accidental catching of a shark when fishermen are trying to catch tuna or mackerel. And unfortunately, some of the fishermen might be a little too tempted by the value of the fins, and they might keep the shark for their own consumption. So sharks are very slow to reproduce, and they have a very long maturation rate. Another reason why they're not coming into population as quickly as we'd like them to. For example, the Greenland shark, research shows that shark can live between 400 to 500 years and has a maturation rate of 150 years. So obviously a very, very slow time. It takes a long time for the shark population to reproduce. So sharks also have many benefits on the ecosystems that they live in, but also they can have a great impact on the human economy. It might not be very evident, but there's indirect ways where sharks can help humans. So one of the ways is through tourism. So with tourism such as shark diving, you can go in the cage, it's a really cool experience, and that brings in a lot of money. In Australia, it brought in about $17.7 million annually. The tourism industry for sharks also allows jobs to be created. So throughout 29 countries, there's about 10,000 more jobs just for shark tourism. So another reason that sharks are very important is for human research. So a lot of different elements are said to have antimicrobial properties and also anticoagulant properties. So what does that mean? What it means is for anticoagulant properties, for example, a hemophiliac, someone that cannot stop bleeding. They continue bleeding, they don't have the clotting ability. There's a lot of medications out there that actually utilize some of the shark elements in part of their medicine to help them. As far as the antimicrobial properties, this helps people with any type of infectious disease. Again, many research companies are investigating the different properties that sharks can bring to the table for this type of research. There's also studies out there that prove that shark liver is beneficial to gastrointestinal problems and esophageal problems. So we can utilize that type of medication to help people with Crohn's disease or gastrointestinal reflux, those types of things. One of the more interesting properties of sharks is their ability to evolve. So they've been around for millions and millions of years, and research has found that they have found a way to adapt to different mutations of cancer, and they can avoid cancer. So that's another reason that sharks are are useful to humans. So what is being done to help the depleting shark population? Well, there's a couple different things. First, there were a lot of petitions going to Congress, and what Congress did was they enacted the Shark Fin Protection Act. So any fisherman in U.S. jurisdiction could not use sharks for any type of trade. They also banned you cannot have only the fins on board. You have to have the corresponding carcass. What does that do? Well, there's a limited space on a fisherman's boat, so what happens is there are less sharks that are able to fit on a boat, and obviously not as many sharks are harmed in the process. So pollution is another problem. So sharks are not going to live where plastic bottles are floating around. So they have the ability to, wherever the shark lives, they can change the entire ecosystem. So take, for example, in a coral reef system, there's a niche of sharks that lives there, and if they're removed from the system, then a whole nother predator comes into fruition to be the top predator. So there's an example where the cow-nosed ray, there's a population of great white sharks that were depleted, so they were out of the picture. The cow-nosed ray came in, and they became the main predator in the area. So this also had a little bit of an effect on human population, and that's because the cow-nosed ray, they primarily fed on mollusks and clams and oysters, and a lot of the local fisheries and restaurants around the area were dependent upon these types of things like the scallops and the clams, and unfortunately they could not sustain their economy anymore because first the shark population depleted, and then the predator came in and pretty much decimated the entire population of bioavailable organisms. So that's another way that that sharks affect the economy. So again, the sharks are their niche, their ecological niche is where they reside, and that has a cascading effect with other populations. So one other way that humans are helping increase the shark population is they're targeting the sponsors for tournaments. So by targeting the sponsors for tournaments, there's no money coming in, so we can't have a tournament. So that is helping keep the shark population at an increase. So overall, we can see that sharks are beneficial to their ecosystems and also to human environment, or for human use. So hopefully you learned a little something today about sharks, and thank you.